Hey everyone, my name is Noel and welcome back to another Pixel Gun 3D video. And today I figured we would go over some nostalgia hits in Pixel Gun 3D. That sentence made no sense whatsoever. But yeah, we're going to be going through different old metas in Pixel Gun 3D from two different eras. As you can see, this is going to be my first loadout here. I don't even know, I want to say that this loadout is from like 8 or 9 years ago. All these weapons came out at around the same time-ish at like the birth of Pixel Gun. Anyways, we're going to jump into some gameplay right now. Also guys, really quick, you guys can get free daily rewards in Pixel Gun 3D using my web store link down in the description. Also, if you want to make some purchases, Pixel Gun is now giving you double the rewards. If you want to get $10 worth of gems, you now get 750 gems instead of 375. So definitely a pretty good deal, and they do it with all currency in the web store except the bundles. So definitely go give that a look if you're looking for some quick currency. So yeah, if you guys use my link to make a couple purchases, it would just greatly support the channel and I would appreciate it. And yeah, let's just jump into some gameplay right now. And also guys, if you don't want to miss a video from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button with notifications on, because YouTube is kind of dumb, and if you just subscribe, they still won't show you my videos because YouTube is just like that. So but who knows, maybe you don't want to see my videos, in which case just don't subscribe. You know, you do you, okay? If you want to see more videos from me, you know, you can do what you want, all right? I'm just telling you, because turns out if I just tell you, some of you guys do it, and like, yeah, it's so weird how that works. Was that dislike blue? Did anyone just see that? Anyways, yeah, so this weapon here is the crystal laser cannon, and the reason why I decided to pick this one is because there's actually a lot to talk about when it comes to crystal laser cannon and just these old weapons in general. So Pixel Gun's old upgrading system used to be 3 levels for each weapon. There was like a base version, and then a golden version, and then a crystal version. So what you're seeing right here, the crystal laser cannon, is actually the second upgrade that you used to be able to get for crystal laser cannon. I believe it was just like the, I don't want to say it was the premium laser cannon, right? It was just the laser cannon, and then the golden laser cannon, and then the crystal laser cannon. But what was very interesting is that the crystal laser cannon actually used to be a heavy weapon, and back in the day the heavy category was actually just called premium, which is actually kind of crazy. I've actually always thought that like a good way to nerf the heavy category would be to like consider it like a premium category, you know, where you have to kind of earn the ability to use those like super unique and overpowered weapons. I always thought like it'd be cool to turn the heavy category into like a kill streaks category, where after you get a certain number of kills, wow. Anyways, where after you get a certain number of kills, you'll be able to use the weapon, and depending on how good the weapon is, you need more kills to use it. So for example, a weapon like invincible line would take 8 kills to get, and then you get to use the weapon, and then you get to use you only get to use the weapon for a certain amount of time. So for example, once you get 8 kills, you get to use the invincible line for like 6 shots or 12 shots, just depending on, I don't know, whatever. But let's move on to the Hitman pistol. Similar boat as crystal laser cannon. This is the second upgrade. I think that this was called like the mushroom pistol. Wow, that guy's on my team. What am I doing? I think that this was called like the mushroom pistol back in the day, but I actually can't remember. And by the way, I did upgrade this to legendary, so it's not just the base rare version, which I'm pretty sure is bad, because the legendary version is also pretty bad, which I don't really know. They didn't change. Okay, no, they didn't change the sound of this weapon. But yeah, I'm pretty sure at least that with the old version of this weapon, the silencer and scope came with upgrades. I'm pretty sure. I could be completely wrong about that, but I want to say like, I think I am wrong about that. I think it always had a silencer. I know it didn't always have a scope, but I could be completely wrong about the silencer part. And yeah, as you guys can see, it's just not that good. But yeah, I honestly feel like that would be a way to balance the heavy category, is to just make them like kind of hard to use, you know, because the heavy category, it's kind of overpowered, just being able to like send nukes everywhere. So I feel like it's not a bad idea, and if I ever made a game, that's what I would do personally. Then you kind of got to earn the right to spam, you know, you can't just spam heavy all game and be annoying. Yeah, and this weapon is just it's pretty bad. This weapon was alright back in the day. Crystal Laser Cannon was, of course, pretty OP. This weapon was just kind of mid. I just didn't really know what other backups to use, honestly. Because, like, back in the day, a pixel gun, the pixel gun, which is, like, the default gun, was actually, like, not bad to use. So all pistols were kind of the same. And, yeah, let's move on to the Dark Force Saber, which I also don't know how old this was. I don't know how old this is. It could be way newer than these other weapons, but for some reason I just remember it being like OG, and it's been in the game for a while. It's also kind of like iconic. Oh, Fire Demon would also be a good substitution for this. I think they probably came out at about the same time. I'll actually switch to Fire Demon because I can actually kind of like talk about this weapon also. This Fire Demon is also an upgrade from an old weapon. The first base weapon was called the Skull Sword, I believe, and then when you upgraded it, you got the Fire Demon, and I believe that the Fire Demon actually had 2 upgrades, if I remember correctly. Both times it was just the Fire Demon, if I remember right. That might have been like an update where you could upgrade it, but I do know for a fact that this used to be the Skull Sword, and now it's the Fire Demon, and it's actually like not bad. Either like I'm just killing people that are super weak, or it's actually a pretty good melee weapon. Actually, no, that did 36 damage, so not really. The next weapon I want to go over is what's now known as the High Voltage. Back in the day, it was called the Tesla gun, and it was like a like teal blue weapon. And then when you upgraded it, it was called the Chain Thunderbolt. And let me tell you guys, the Chain Thunderbolt was the most slept on weapon in the game. It was so incredibly overpowered, and I never saw anyone using it, and I don't know why. I think that in general back in the day, the Tesla gun was pretty hard to get, but I don't really know. But basically, when you upgraded it to the Chain Thunderbolt, it was like a 4-shot, and with this fire rate, that's just overpowered. And also, it used to have the like multiple targets attribute, which just allowed you to like shred through enemies and monsters and stuff like that. And it also had a scope. Believe it or not, I believe it had a 2-time scope back in the day, and they justifiably removed that because, like, now, I mean, why would you need a scope with a weapon that has literally no range? But yeah, it was just so good. When this weapon came out, it was definitely my favorite weapon, not only because it was just so cool and broke the boundaries of pixel gun. Same with Prototype. I feel like this weapon and Prototype were the first like 2 weapons to kind of like push the boundaries of like what pixel gun weapons could be. But it was just also so overpowered that it was like, yeah, this weapon is my favorite weapon in the game, and it was for a long while. And then as updates kind of started to roll out, they kind of just started to neglect the older weapons, and so now it's still pretty good, but it's just not anything what it was like in its prime. Of course, we have Prototype. This is probably the most iconic weapon in pixel gun history. Actually, I don't really know anymore. It's probably Ultimatum nowadays, but back in the day, yeah, this weapon was the weapon to get. I mean, just imagine an old version of pixel gun where only like real military type weapons were a thing, and then all of a sudden they introduced this like laser sniper that could wall break and like one-shot players. Yeah, this weapon was game-changing. It was so overpowered. Everyone used this weapon, and as you guys can see, nowadays it's still pretty decent. It's obviously not the best sniper by any means. It's actually like kind of mid, just based on nowadays standards. Especially when Prototype S exists, which is literally just the same weapon with more damage. Yeah, there's no real reason to get this weapon. But also similar to those older weapons, it had 2 upgrades. The base weapon was called the Prototype PSR1, and then once you upgraded it, it was the Prototype Up 1, Prototype Up 2. The Prototype Up 1 was actually green, so you can see how like it, oh wait, actually no, it doesn't have the blue accents anymore. I just realized that. Yeah, it used to have, so this is like what the old weapon looked like, just gray, and then when you upgraded it to Up 1, it had like green accents, and then when you upgraded it to Up 2, it had blue accents, which was pretty nice. Oh, actually, if I get a kill, you guys can still see the blue accents on the like kill thing in the kill feed. If I kill this bot here, please don't steal my kill. Yeah, you can still see the blue accents and the number 3, showcasing that it had 3 upgrades back in the day. And looks like they kind of got rid of that, which makes sense because they don't have that upgrade system anymore. Another really good weapon was the Armageddon here. This was actually an upgrade to the Apocalypse 3000, which is now its own separate weapon. So basically, if I go into my armory, this weapon, the Apocalypse, was originally called the Apocalypse 3000. Then it upgraded to like the nuke launchers. I don't know. It was like some nuclear weapon. And then you could upgrade it to the Armageddon, which this thing was just so overpowered. Back in the day, all the heavy weapons were like a 2-shot. So the Apocalypse 3000 had a really slow fire rate because you had to like reload every time, but it was a 2-shot, did like 8 damage, and then so was this one. This one also did 8 damage. So the first, like, this was like the first heavy weapon to like have 4 shots with a quick fire rate. So basically, I mean, you can imagine just how overpowered that was to be able to get kills that fast, and have a heavy with 4 ammo instead of just 1. Yeah, it was pretty good. And also, back in the day, heavies had knockback, so if I was to hit someone with a rocket, it would actually launch them across the map, which was pretty funny. So yeah, the game has definitely changed a lot since then, and so these OG metas aren't really that good at all. The next loadout, I mean, you guys can kind of tell what weapons we're going to be using. This era of pixel gun, I think, was like right before or just as 3-cap was kind of starting to like become a known play strategy. And I actually think it was still technically before 3-cap, because I think 3-cap really started to get normalized with the release of Ghost Lantern and Ultimatum, which I think was just a little bit after these weapons came out. But yeah, we definitely have an interesting, what is going on here? Am I getting, oh no, this guy. I was like, is a hacker in the game right now? But yeah, Secret Forces rifle, when it came out, I don't remember like what happened, but basically I spent $10 to buy this weapon for gems, and then I think what happened was like I think like the game just stopped working. Yeah, so I bought this weapon for 300 gems on like my iPod or something, and I started to use it, and then Pixelgun released an update like 2 days later, and that update made the game unplayable on my iPod. So I was ticked off because, like, you know, spending 10 gems or spending $10 as like a 13-year-old is not okay. And I was just so mad that I bought this weapon, and Pixel Gun, I just couldn't play Pixel Gun anymore. It just wasn't working. It was so high end compared to other like games at the time. I couldn't play it anymore, and actually that's still kind of the case to this day. You kind of need newer devices to play the game, which is kind of frustrating. So yeah, I was just so mad, and basically that caused me to like quit the game for a very, very long time. And yeah, I don't know why Pixel Gun does things. That was kind of like the time Pixel Gun started to fall off hard. Now we also had Exterminator. Exterminator was also extremely game changing because it was basically just a prototype in the backup category. However, I think it was pretty hard to get. This gadget is so annoying. I think it was pretty hard to get, so not a lot of people had it. Also, this update was kind of like when gems started to come out. So like Secret Forces rifle was gems, which was kind of annoying. It was super hard to get gems. I would literally just watch ads for like hours a day to get gems. So yeah, I mean, you guys may think I don't know what it's like to watch ads for hours a day. Nah, I used to do that. I used to like actually go outside and like play, and then just like let ads play in the background so I could get free gems to like buy overpowered weapons like the heavy assault machine gun or whatever. Stormhammer was also extremely overpowered back in the day. It was like a 1 to 2 shot, and back in the day players did not have the movement they have nowadays. I'm pretty sure rocket jumping still like wasn't exactly a thing, and so players did not move as fast as they do right now. And so just imagine like being able to run around pool party and 1 to 2 shot players with this thing. And I think it might have also had a higher fire rate as well. But yeah, basically, as the game started to change, this weapon just became pretty much like not good at all. And by the way, I did upgrade this to legendary. I believe its default rarity is epic. But yeah, now it's just pretty bad. It's not really worth using at all. And it's actually like not a bad thing, because when everyone was spamming this weapon back in the day, it was actually like extremely annoying. And how is that not my kill, dude? This game is crazy. Freeze ray rifle was also pretty good because like in this stage of Pixel Gun, laser weapons were kind of starting to become popular. Not really like prototype laser weapons, which are literally just single shot weapons, but weapons like this with an extremely high fire rate and extremely good accuracy. So before we had flamethrowers with a really high fire rate, but those were like of course limited by range, but freeze ray rifle kind of changed the game there a little bit. It basically allowed players to like do high amounts of damage across the map, and so weapons like the Dragon's Breath and freeze ray rifle were just pretty dang game breaking. In fact, there was a weapon called, or there actually still is a weapon called the Frost Beam spell, and for a little bit in one of the updates, that weapon was like a one shot. And so yeah, it was extremely broken and overpowered, and it actually they patched it pretty fast. Whoa, what's this? I was here. Do I have a graffiti? Oh, I do. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to have a laser weapon like this one shot everyone. Pretty broken. It might have been like a two-shot body shot, one-shot headshot, but yeah, needless to say, that was patched pretty fast. Anti-hero rifle was also a huge changing point in Pixel Gun. So when anti-hero rifle was released, it definitely dethroned prototype and created a lot of like controversy in the Pixel Gun community because everyone was like asking the same question, like prototype or anti-hero rifle. And it was just so undeniable that anti-hero rifle was just general and better. I think at the time, anti-hero rifle actually had more ammo than prototype. However, I could be wrong about that. But yeah, it just did way more damage. It was just better in general, and so it was kind of like hard for the community to accept because back then there was still like the same player base that like grew up with prototype and stuff. And so yeah, it was kind of hard for everyone to admit that this weapon was definitely better. But yeah, and so from here on out, snipers just kind of like became extremely overpowered and the meta in Pixel Gun. And then we also had solar power cannon, which that is what this is called, right? Yeah, solar power cannon, which I don't believe was actually like extremely overpowered. It was again just another two-shot heavy. But what made this weapon really good is what you guys will see is the AoE. It was just so big. Fun fact, when I actually saw people like using this in the game back in the day, like having this huge giant explosion thing, I thought that this weapon was the sunrise, because I mean it looks like a sun. Like when it explodes, it looks like a sun, and so I didn't know the solar power cannon existed, and so I was like, oh, I'll buy the sunrise because that's the weapon everyone's using, and it looks like a sun, so it's probably the sunrise, and so I bought sunrise, which is not a good sniper, just in case you guys are wondering, and it wasn't a good sniper back in the day, so that was definitely a mistake. But yeah, those were the good old days, and I believe I even spent gems to get it, so yeah, it was kind of like extremely disappointing, but I don't remember being too upset about it. But yeah, guys, so I guess we can definitely see that a lot of these OG meta weapons aren't really good anymore. Some of them still are, like Secret Forces rifle, anti-hero rifle, those are all really good. But like those really old weapons, not too good anymore. It's kind of sad to see. But if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely smash that like button and also subscribe so you guys don't miss another Pixel Gun video from me. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace.